This is a case where the client went running and he was crossing a street and the traffic in the closest lane was backed up. So all these cars were stopped. He's in between the cars and he looks the way that the opposite lane would have been coming. And he comes out and he looks to the right and there's nobody coming. And he goes to cross the street and he gets hit by a police car who is driving on the wrong side of the road in the opposite lane of travel. Immediately, it was clear that he suffered orthopedic injuries. He suffered a fractured leg that ultimately required surgery. His head hit the ground very hard. We call it a mild traumatic brain injury. Whenever there's a municipal defendant, right, a township, a police department, there are certain types of laws that protect them or inundate them or shield them from liability. You know, you first take this case and you think, man, we have a really uphill battle, and then weird things started happening. So one of the things we do with our investigation early on is to send both what we call spoliation notices. With municipalities, you can also send out what's called an OPRA request, an Open Public Records Act request. And so we sent both of those things out because we wanted to get a hold of the dash cam and then body cam. So we got those documents out. Now, normally when you send those out, you get a call from like fourth officer of the basement and they say, oh, we've got your request, or you get nothing. But I got a call maybe 2 or 3 days after those letters went out from the deputy chief of police of the township, the city that we were going to be suing. You know, you don't get that phone call that high up the chain. So I thought to myself, like, well, this is weird. What is going on here? We filed a lawsuit, and similar to the spoliation letter, the head legal counsel for the city called me 2 days later. And now I'm like, something is missing from this picture that I'm not seeing, because auto collisions are negligence. They're carelessness. You're not usually looking to mow somebody down, right? Like, you're not looking to hit them. So for all of this to be going on when a police was engaged with his emergency sirens, and he said, you know, we start talking about the case a little bit, and he wants to potentially engage in early settlement talks. And so a lot of bells are ringing here because most cases don't settle right out of the gate like that. But I told him I want to engage all of my experts, and I want to engage because, you know, the type of compensation that my client deserves, the city isn't going to believe that they owe it without, you know, seeing everything about this case and seeing all of our experts and seeing our medicals and seeing the damages and bringing that all to life, right? We agreed to use a mediator to sit down and talk about the case. And we went to the first mediation and they offered a certain amount of money, and we scheduled a second mediation weeks later. So part of the deal, when we talked about the exchange of discovery, right, they wanted to go to early resolution and not exchange their discovery, not have their police officer deposed, not exchange the normal, but I could exchange my discovery to sort of display the damages and really showcase the damages that my client went through. Also odd, right? So now you're adding up all these odd things that happen. So it turned out that this officer was not responding to an active emergency. There had been an emergency an hour or two before, and he really just didn't want to sit in traffic, and he put on his lights and he went in the wrong lane. It really did sort of start to explain why they wanted to resolve the case, why they didn't want to go through the normal steps of discovery, why they were calling me. When you sue a municipality, when they come to a resolution and they settle the case, their council has to vote on it to approve that. So obviously this was something that was in people's minds, and with personal injury, we're really lucky to represent the entire populace. You know, it's been 17, almost 18 years with Saperstein Salomon doing this kind of work. I still really care about the clients, and I really care about the results, and I care about doing the right thing by them, and not just the amount of money, but delivering him the information that he wasn't at fault for this, and then delivering him, you know, justice for the losses was a really nice thing for a really nice guy. I know he's very happy. I know the result was a good one. I can sleep at night knowing that we did the right thing for that client.